I'm Dr. Yvette Kennedy, and I am the mother of four college graduates, and I am an author and a songwriter. I, in the past, was a principal for a K through 12 school, Christian school, and that school saw growth from 63 children to 262 under my tutelage. So anyway, I do these YouTubes because I want to share with you some of the things that I did with my children when they were young so that they would be able to, so that they were eligible to get three scholarships. Each one of them, well, I have four children. Three of them got the Gates Millennial Scholarship, which is kind of unheard of from coming from one family. But it happened, and it's by the grace of God. It was miraculous. Yes, it was. And I wanted to share with you because of the goodness of God. I wanted to share with you what I did with them to get them to that position. So the things that I did not realize that I was doing them at the time, but I made a major decision to stay home with my children when they were young. And I did that, and being home with them, I was able to expose them to different things and teach them on a different level, I guess, introducing things to them that were that they could handle at that time, okay, and not limiting them to just certain things that they should know. So, with that being the case, I did not realize what I was doing when they were young, and I did not realize that until I got grandchildren who were my daughter told me, she says, Mom, you're doing something different because they are light years ahead of the other children that they play with. So she made me think, and she said, you need to share this. So 11 years later, or yeah, 10 and a half years later, I'm beginning to share it with you. So I wanted to share with you some things that I did with my children as well as my grandchildren. And with my grandchildren, I've been a lot more intentional with what I do with them because since then, I've learned that some of the things that I did with my children, they were extraordinary things, but they were things that some sectors of our society know about without, they just know about it because it's in their network. It was not in my network. So I'm sharing it with you so that it will be in your network and it won't be hard for you to do. So as a parent, you start with your children. You're your child's first teacher, and that starts very early in life, okay? When they're born, you're teaching them even before they're born. They can hear you. So, you can talk to them, say positive things to them. You can be calm. They know when you're upset, even when they're in the womb, because it is a human being. And so once they are born, if you think about it, the 0 to 3 and 4 year old age groups are the times that your child learns the most because they know nothing when they come into the world. And their brains are still developing. Their brains are developing at such a fast rate until it makes 1 million nerve connections per second from the age of 0 to 3. So you have the perfect opportunity to impact your values, your goals, and to instill a love for learning in your children at an early age. And guys, guess what? It doesn't take that much time. Just an hour a day, and you can help them to learn. It's a bonding time. Now, if you have more time than that, then that's great. Hi, Peyton. If you have more time than that, then it's great. It's great. But if you don't, take take up advantage of the opportunity that you have. If it's just an hour, just 30 minutes, be consistent with that time each day with your toddler, with your newborn, with your child, so that with your infant, so that you will be able to instill in them a love for learning. Now, in addition to talking about the toddler age, because that I'm just sharing with you what I do with my grands that I have now with me. And I said, well, if I share with them, then they can do what I do and have the same outcomes. But also, for those of you who have already done the right thing with your child and they are in, well, I found a program for second graders, rising second graders, today that I'll talk about later. But I wanted for those parents, because some of you may have a baby and you may have a fifth grader or an eighth grader or maybe even a high schooler. So if you do, this is going to work for both segments, okay? And if you know somebody, then if you have a toddler and you know somebody who has an older child that's in school, then you can share these things with them too. The main thing is, I want our brown, black children to have a level starting point, start with a level playing ground. So, with that, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. So, first, I want to tell you the things that we did for our daily activities today. My grandson and I have a granddaughter as well that are both 1 year old. One is like 2 months older than the other one. So, and I have a 4 year old that I've been keeping with them. So, what I'm doing is I am trying to incorporate things into our daily activities that both of them, both age groups, can benefit from. So, what did we do today? Today, what we did was we watched while they were eating. Okay, now, while they are eating, the 1 year olds, they really can't do anything. So they're right there in their chair. So while they were eating, I give them screen time. And I don't start screen time with them until they're about 10 months, maybe 11, 10 or 11, somewhere in there, when they're sitting in their high chairs and they can watch. And that's the only time that I give them screen time. So, and during that time, not only am I feeding them, but I am also communicating with them on the whatever is on the screen. Okay, so today we did the ABC 13 songs, and we did part of those, and we did the preschool prep. It was a preschool prep phonics, and the phonics tells them the sounds of the letters. Okay, so those are the two things that we did during mealtime today. And with that, okay, so the 1 year olds are learning those things. The 4 year old already knows that. Actually, my 4 year old reads on a second grade level, okay, but I have found, not only with him, but even with my other grandchildren, that knowing how to read does not necessarily mean you know how to spell, because it takes a different set of cognitive skills for that. So, what I'm doing now is I'm being very intentional with the ones coming up to not only teach them to read, but also to teach them to spell. So, the things that I'm doing now with them for daily activities are both. With the younger ones, I'm teaching them the letters of the alphabet, which is the first part of teaching them how to read and the sounds that the alphabets make. I'm also working with them with puzzles so that they will have that hand-eye coordination. And this is one of the puzzles that I show just about every time. This puzzle has the alphabets, and the actual alphabets are the same color as on the puzzle. Let me see. Okay, let me see if I can grab this right quick. And I try to have everything situated where it's easy to get to and in their learning area. Okay, so I keep their alphabet puzzle parts in here, and I'm just going to show you an example for those of you who have never seen this before, because I don't show it every time, but this is one of the major things that I use. This is one of the major things that I use to teach them their alphabets even before screen time. And I start with this at about 6 months, when I am holding them and I am guiding their hand and teaching them to take one letter out of the bag at a time. They take one out, and then I tell them what the letter is, and then I help them place the letter where it's supposed to go. I use their pointer finger and I slide it over, and then I congratulate them and say, "Good job, yay!" And I clap their hands, and so that gives them positive reinforcement. Okay, so this is one of the first things that I do with them to teach them their letters, their alphabets. And then once they get a little older and they're able to sit up on their own in their high chairs for eating time, then that's when I'll do the screen time. Okay. All right. So let's see here. So this is one of the things, and with the with the letters. Okay, and I told you I'm teaching reading and spelling at the same time. So with the preschool prep, with Meet the Phonics, it goes over all of the alphabets with the sounds that they make. So for my 4-year-old, I am asking him while it's going on, I am asking him, how many sounds does it make? And have him repeat those sounds to me. For the 1-year-olds, I'm pointing to the letters with them to tell them what the letter is. So I'm using those, they're all in the same area. The children are sitting in the same area. So with that, I can easily get to them and ask them questions and do things like that. So that was our meal time that we did today. Now, after that, we had reading time, and reading time is very important. Even though your child, your infant, your 1-year-old, even though they don't know how to read yet, reading to them is very important because it teaches them several things. It teaches them the way that books are made. It teaches them that you read from left to right. It teaches them that pictures are associated with words. It teaches them the flow of how a book works, and you having them turn the page, that helps them with their motor coordination. So all of all of these things really help. So if you can read a book to them, that would be great. One of my favorite books for them, for the 1-year-olds, is Brown Bear. And even my 4-year-old will get a little bit out of it. He'll stop what he's doing and he'll look and he'll say some things sometimes. Okay, so this one is Brown Bear, Brown Bear, and it not only teaches them the animals, it teaches them colors. It also, I teach them, the book doesn't say it, but I teach them the sounds that the animals make. And then on the back page of it, and you guys can get this from the library or you can purchase it. It's not very, very expensive. On the back, what I will do once they know the sounds that the animals make, and they're familiar with it. Now, my 1-year-olds are like 12 and 14 months. So they don't know this yet. They're still learning. But when they learn it, I'll point to whatever animal I want and say, or, what is this? What sound does this make? Or I'll say to them, if they're not speaking yet, can you show me the green frog? So those are ways that you can communicate with your child. And if you've taught them how to point to things and read along with you, then they'll be able to point to it themselves, even though they cannot talk yet. Okay? So, this is a very good book. Oh, and it's Brown Bear, Brown Bear, The World of Eric Carle. Okay. All right. Now, this is a book that we did, that we worked with today. Okay, so now with my 1 year olds, because they touch a lot and they'll go for each other's eyes, not maliciously, but that's just what they do. So what I do is I separate them. Like I may have one in a walker or in the playpen, and the other one I'll have holding, and then I alternate times with them so that each one will have that lap time. And I have a bouncer too that really keeps them occupied. They love being on that bouncer. One day I'll show it to you one day. Okay, but today with them, they were at the bouncer and on my lap, and we went over this book or parts of this book. Okay, now while we were going over this book, my 4-year-old, I showed these the other day. These are alphabet cubes, okay? And we had put them up on yesterday, but what happened was one of them was left out. So the 1-year-old found it today, and I said, oh my goodness, we have to go and we have to make sure they're all there. So I had him, we emptied them all out, and then I had him sort them out and put them together. So he wanted to build a tower with it. And I said, oh yeah, you can build a tower. Unfortunately, his tower only went 4 steps high or 4 cubes high. So he says, if I build it higher than that, I can't put all of the letters on, so maybe I better make another tower. So he figured it out himself that he was going to need only 4 to make the tower. And then that would work. So he went through almost all of them. He's going to finish after this, but he went through almost all of them and he put them together. Also, what he was learning was the vowels in these are red and the consonants are blue. So he's also getting the concept of vowels and consonants as he does this, because of course there are less vowels than consonants, so it's easier for him to find the consonants. All right, so that's what he was doing. So he was busy working, doing those things. And every now and then, because we're in a close proximity, every now and then he would get stumped and I'd ask him what comes next. Now, while he was doing that, I was working with the 1-year-olds with this book. Okay? Now, this book does not turn the normal way. Okay? And it starts out with the ABCs, and I sing the ABC song to them as we point to it, okay? I like this book. This book is ABC, and this is an Eric Carle book as well. But it has the uppercase letters in the front of the book, and it has the lowercase letters in the back of the book, okay? Now, I was telling you this book does not go like a regular book because the pages flip up. So what I did with the 1-year-olds is we read it and we say I read it and they point to it, and then I show them the picture, ants, and then I'll spell it out for them. So now, again, my 4-year-old is busy doing his job over here with the blocks. But when I get to the letters and when I get to the words, I'll say the word and then bring him in to work with it as well. And he comes in and I'll say, "Oh, what's this word?" And he, of course, he'll say ant, because he can read, okay? And like I said, the spelling uses a different set of cognitive skills, cognitive meaning mental skills. So, okay, so what I did was I'll say it and show it to him and have him repeat it after me. And then I'll close the book or cover it up and say, "Now you spell it." And so that's how I'm working with him on his spelling. So ants was an easy one, because it's only 3 letters and he got that one really easy. But then we got to crocodile. Oh, and this is the way that this book opens is it's goes up first, and so then you do bee and bird, and I tell them the sound that the bird makes, and we just go over different things, and they are learning about different animals. So when we got to crocodile, this one was kind of, challenging to spell, and he said, "Oh, that's got a lot." And so we clapped out the word part. We clapped out crocodile. Okay. And then we went from there, and I said, "No, it has 3 sounds. 1, croc, go, 2, dial. 3." I said it has 3 sounds, but it has 8 letters, or however many there were. We counted the letters together. And so this is how I incorporated a 1-year-old project with a 4-year-old to assist him in learning to spell. Okay, so we did that. And what else did we do today? I think that was about it. So we did have, now, yesterday we had story time, and my 4-year-old wanted to read Jackie Robinson. So that's what we did. We read the Jackie Robinson story. Um, and that was it. That's it. That's it. Um, of course, whenever I change the 1-year-olds, I do the Itsy Bitsy Spider song, and I also do the This Little Piggy Went to Market. Okay, so they love that and they anticipate it. One of my 1-year-olds, he had pulled his sock off, so I was doing it. And then after I finished the right foot, he kicked up the left foot for me to do it too. So, they like it, they anticipate it. So now, so that is the part of the daily activities and incorporating things in your everyday um, activities that you do to include the 1-year-olds and the 4-year-olds or the older children. Okay, and you just work on whatever they need to work on. Now, another thing that we did yesterday, my 4-year-old wanted to, he loves watching Car Wash. And I never let him watch those things. I only let him watch educational things when he's with me. Okay. So, but 4-year-olds are fascinated with car washes. This one is. And so, anyway, he says, "Well, Gigi, can I watch the car wash?" So I told him, I said, "Well, can you spell car wash?" So he could spell car, but he couldn't spell wash. So what we did was we used these blocks because they were already out from the previous day. We used these blocks, and once he spelled car wash, then he was able to, well, he had to spell it with the blocks. Oh, no, no. First, we wrote it. We wrote it. I helped him write it. He's learning to write, so he was holding his own pencil, and he wrote the letters, and then he spelled the letters. And then after that, when we were doing, when I was working with the 1-year-olds, I told him I wanted him to spell car wash with the blocks to see if he could remember. Okay. And so he did a very good job, and it took him a little while, but he spelled it. And then after that, he spelled his name. So, and he was happy about it. Now, I think that was a successful activity. I really do. When I first went over it with him, or before he wrote it down, he wasn't that excited about doing it and didn't really want to do it. And this, guys, is where you are the parent or you are the grandparent. And that's what the child does. I knew that he was not hungry. I knew that he was not sleepy. And I knew that he was not sick. And I knew that he had used the bathroom. Okay. So, with that being the case, it becomes a case of willpower. Okay. So, he did not want to do it. But I convinced him to do it by not backing down, by telling him, okay, if you don't want to do it, you're not going to get to watch the car wash video. Okay? So once I stood my ground and did not give in to him, okay, and I wasn't mean about it or anything like that. I just gave him the option, told him, no, you're not going to watch it. And so then he still didn't do it. I said, well, you're going to do what I told you to do. So I took his hand and we did it together. And I let him know, okay, you're going to do what Gigi told you to do. So let's go ahead and do it. And he didn't like it, but he did it. And see, by the end of the activity, he had spelled it with the, he had, not only had he written it several times, he also spelled it with the blocks. And then he wanted to spell his own name. So, you just have to take the authoritative role in a child's life. A child doesn't know what's best for them. Okay? You're the adult. You're the adult. And the child is going to do just what you train them to do. If you train them that every time they look sad, that you're going to change your mind and give in to them and say, okay, baby, that's all right. You don't have to do it. That's what you're training them to do, that they can get their way by just acting sad. So that's not a good thing to do, mommies and daddies. It's cute, but it's not a good thing to do. And it's easy, but it's not a good thing to do. Okay? You have to be consistent. Okay? And when you tell them to do something, you should not have to tell them 10 times, and then after the 10th time, you decide to give in to them. Okay, that's not good. That is not good because the child does not know what is best for them. Okay, so this is a part of training your child and disciplining them. And discipline comes in so many different forms. Discipline for a 1-year-old is when you tell them to come to you, then and they don't come, then you teach them what come to you means. Okay, you get up off of your seat and you go to the child and say, this is what it means to come to Gigi or whatever, come to mommy or whoever. Okay, so that's just a little tidbit there that your child may not want to do it, but even if they don't, you are the adult and you're telling them what they're going to do. Okay? It's not a question. But there again, you got to make sure that none of those things are going on with them, that they're not wet, that they're not sleepy, that they're not hungry, and that they're not sick. Those 4 things, you got to make sure as the parent that those things are not going on with your child. Okay? And then you gently guide them to do whatever it is that you told them to do, to let them know that they are going to do it. Okay? And then once they do it, and I've given you this before, like when I first start out, and it inevitably, it happens almost every time. When I first start out with them, when they're 5 or 6 months old, and they don't want to sit still to do this puzzle, well, there really isn't a choice. Now, what I may do is I may go a lot faster with them, but I will take their little hand. I will take their little hand and I'll say, okay, go into the bag and take one out. And they may not even want, they might be saying, but I'll just hold their little hand, pick it up with them, take it out, and then show them, okay, now this is W. This is W. They may be crying at the top of their lungs, but it's okay. It's okay if they're crying because they have to learn. This is W. This is W. See, W. W. Woo, woo, woo. W. And W goes here. And they, like I said, they might be crying at the top of their lungs, squirming and everything, but this board is on the floor. So, and I'm holding them with one hand, and then the other hand I have free so that I can help them to know that this is what they're going to do. So the first day is usually chaotic, okay, and noisy, very noisy because they don't want to do it. But the second day, they go to it themselves. You guys, you got to try it, okay? And it's just gentle guidance, letting them know, gentle but firm, letting them know that they're going to do it. This is what we're going to do, okay? Because they don't know. They don't know. And it's your job to teach them um, what they need to know, okay? So, and unless you want them having tantrums when you go out to the store or somewhere and falling out and you getting all embarrassed and everything because you have taught them that, okay, if you do this, I'll give in to you. That's what you did. You taught them that. Okay, so anyway, that's enough for that. All right. Now, the next thing is I wanted to go over quickly the 3 summer programs that I gave to you over the last few weeks, over the last month or so. So the first one was Summer Springboard, and I think the deadline for it is the end of the month, which is tomorrow. Okay, so you can look it up, Summer Springboard. Okay, and the Summer Springboard are summer programs that uh, they have programs at all the prestigious schools. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is the one that I was looking at for my clients. But then when I found it, it had programs for different schools. UCLA, UC Berkeley, MIT, I think Stanford, and a host of other schools that are top-notch educational facilities. And it is a summer residential program. It is called pre-college. And if you have done what you were supposed to do with your child, and your child excels, then you can apply for their scholarship. Okay, and it's for rising 11th and 12th graders. But the deadline is, I'm going to say tomorrow, the 28th. It may be March 1st, but if it is, then you just have an extra day, okay? If it's not, then you better get on it if you want your child to be exposed to that. Okay, so Summer Springboard, okay? It's a pre-college program, all right? It's very good for you to expose your children to different things while they are still in high school. What that does is it gives them an edge when they are applying for college scholarships and also when they are applying for college admissions. Okay. Now, the next one was the Georgia Tech College of Design pre-college program. And that college, oh, I'm sorry, on the Summer Springboard, it wasn't pre-college. The Georgia Tech College of Design was a pre-college for 11th and 12th. The Summer Springboard, I think it starts at high school, maybe even middle school. Ooh, I'm sorry about that. So Summer Springboard is for middle and high school, I think, okay? But you look it up because it's your child and you are the one that has to help them to get those opportunities and extracurricular activities. Now, you can look it up or you can tell your child to look it up because if they are advanced or love learning, then they may do it too. But it's for you to expose them to if they don't already know it and you know about it. Okay. So that was Summer Springboard. And I apologize for saying that it was pre-college. It is pre-college, but it's for grades that are I think middle school and high school. You check it out, okay? Don't take my word for it. Check it out for yourself. And we know it's real because one of my clients did get a scholarship. Okay. They have three full scholarships. Two of them they have reserved for African American children. So if you are African American, I would definitely do that. And the guideline is you have to make less than $100,000 a year. So if your household income is less than $100,000 a year, guess what? You should apply for this for your child or have your child apply for it. So, my job is to tell you about it. Your job is to do the research and get your child to do what they need to do. Okay. And if there's an essay, you need to proof that essay. If you're not so great at reading, you need to get their teacher, maybe their English teacher, or if they have a creative writing teacher, you need to get them to proof that essay before you send it in because it is senseless to send in an essay with grammatical errors on it. That's the first thing they look for. I read for the Gates Scholarship. I'm a reader and an interviewer. And when I see people with misspelled words, that's an immediate um, decrease in your rubrics count. So you just have to make sure that you have people proof it, people who are knowledgeable to proof it. So that was, I gave you summer springboard, and I know you do have to write an essay for that. Then the Georgia Tech College of Design is a pre-college for the 11th and 12th grades, uprising or rising 11th and 12th graders. So, and that gives them exposure to different professions that are in the College of Design or different majors. And they are architectural design, music technology, building construction, and urban planning and industrial design. Okay, so if you think your child is interested in any of those, you can definitely apply for that. And I think they do have scholarships as well. So don't say, oh, that costs too much. If they have a scholarship application, fill it out. You never know, you may get it, okay? Then the third one, which this is a new one that I have not mentioned before, it is the Georgia Tech Summer Peaks program, and it's a STEAM program. Now, STEAM means science, technology, engineer, arts, and math. Okay, so if your child is interested in any of those, or if you want your child to get exposure in those areas, because those areas will be around forever with technology increasing, they will probably have a job and can be able to support themselves when they graduate from college, and they will be out of your house. Okay, so and they will be self-supportive out of your house. So this is the Georgia Tech Summer Peaks STEAM program. Now, what I need for you to do if you are interested in this is to just Google it. Georgia Tech Summer Peaks STEAM program. And you do have to sign up for their newsletter. Sign up for their newsletter, and they will email you information on when the orientation for finding out more about this program is. Okay, so you need to go ahead and do that today because one of the orientations is tomorrow. And if you wanted to go to the school, that orientation is like for from 9:30 to 10:30. However, they will have a virtual orientation as well on March 3rd from 6:30 to 7:30. But in any case, what you're going to have to do is Google GT Summer Peak STEAM program and give them your email address so that you can subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get the information. Okay, so those are the three programs that I have for you so far. And I have another one on the horizon, but I just have to do some more research to make sure that it is, something I would send my children to. So, all right, for now, we are out. And if I've said anything to help you empower your child to be able to be on a level playing field when they get to college, when they get to first grade, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.